Talk on our SEC conference call a little while ago, and surprised I only got one question about Dane Bradshaw. But I'll go ahead and kind of repeat the point I was making. I think looking at this past weekend, it's just there's so much drama already in the league. It just jumps out at you. First things, there are 12 teams in the league with RPIs inside of 100. And our RPI right now is 87 this morning. And that's really significant. That really speaks to the overall strength of the conference. The conference, to me, looks stronger top to bottom than any time that I was in the league. We always there were always 3 or 4 teams that really struggled, 3 or 4 teams that even if you didn't play well at home, you'd beat them, and you could get them on the road too. And that's just not the case, I don't think, this year. Kentucky gets stretched to what, three overtimes in the first weekend. Arkansas, is 2-0 and got a 13 RPI and goes on the road and wins at Georgia. And we know Arkansas has historically not won on the road. Alabama has struggled on the road, and they go to Tennessee and beat Tennessee. Georgia and South Carolina are 2 of our better RPI teams. Teams that have had really quality non-conference records and beaten some good opponents. And, based in large part by virtue of the teams that they're playing. They haven't won their first game yet. LSU plays in a couple of overtimes, and they're an NCAA tournament team, and Ole Miss is Andy's just still doing what he's always doing. Texas A&amp, they take Kentucky to the overtime situation. Vanderbilt and Tennessee and Auburn, we all split. Florida picks up where they left off. Haven't lost a conference game since 2012-13 season, regular season game. Looks like they're playing some of their best basketball right now. So it's just I just think it's about as interesting a first week as you could have.
Along those lines, what do you think it's going to take for those numbers are great and all, but for the national perspective to change, and not necessarily just based off numbers, but what they see with their eyes?
It's funny. When the math is against us, it's all about the math. And when it's all about the eye test, it's all about the math. So I don't know which is which. All I know is that the math's important. And you take a look at, I just know that, that, like, for example, Ole Miss is 55 in the RPI. They're 6th in the league right now as far as the best RPI. That's kind of an RPI that usually gets you in. We'd take 6, wouldn't we? We'd take 5. And I said from the very beginning of the season, I think we'll get 5. So what's it going to take? It's going to take 5 or 6 teams going based on the math and some of the eye test. What is the eye test? The eye test is Kentucky beating everybody by 40, and they go to overtime against Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Call it what you want. That's Kentucky's not, they're not point shaving. They're trying to win They're trying to win games, and they're trying to dominate their opponents, and they couldn't dominate 2 middle of the league SEC teams right now with Texas A&M and Ole Miss. So I think we've got some math, and I think we've got some eye test. Florida did not have the non-conference record that Billy's had forever, because he's carried the conference in the non-conference. Because he had injuries and he had some guys that were out, and so conference play is probably as important to Florida this year as it's ever been. And I think Billy has got to be really, really excited and pleased that the conference went about and did the work that we did in the non-conference with our scheduling and with some of the wins, but mostly with our scheduling, so that now he got a chance to make the tournament by beating SEC teams. Whereas before, we used to make the tournament by beating non-conference teams and then just not getting killed in league play. League play should help our conference get more teams in the tournament.